So tonight, I know that last week we talked about, so we talked about the ego. What is the ego? The how does the ego sound? Last week we talked about God's thoughts are with us every day, and recognizing the voice of God. And tonight I wanted to talk about who is God, who is God, and of course we all have our own experience of God, but we have learned things and we've heard things about God, and tonight is about having an accurate perception of who God is. So the Bible says in 1 John 4:16, it says, God is love. Whoever lives in love lives in God and God in him. So in this, in the Bible, God is defined as love. But let's clarify our perception. We also heard a lot of other things about God. So the reason this is necessary is because we've had many experiences growing up in a church or outside of the church that has created a perception of God that may or may not be true. And now we're going to reshape our beliefs about God, because if we have warped beliefs about God, we have warped beliefs about ourselves. So let me start with my favorite book. Of course, y'all know what I'm going to pull out, Conversations with God. Bear with me tonight. I have a lot to read. I have a lot of information to share. In this book, God goes into great detail about how he feels about how he has been portrayed. So I'm going to start with this. So this is God having a conversation with Neale Donald Walsh in Conversations with God. So God says every human thought and every human action is based in either love or fear. There is no other human motivation, and all other ideas are but derivatives of these two. They're simply different versions, different twists on the same theme. And the reason is found in the first lie. Well, he's starting to talk about that we go into love, into fear, into love, into fear. And he says, and the reason is found is in the first lie, the lie which you hold as the truth about God, that God cannot be trusted, that God's love cannot be depended upon, that God's acceptance of you is conditional, that the ultimate outcome is thus in doubt. For if you cannot depend on God's love to always be there, on whose love can you depend? If God retreats and withdraws when you do not perform properly, will not mere mortals also? And so it is in the moment that you pledge your highest love, you greet your greatest fear. For the first thing you worry about after saying, I love you, is whether you'll hear it back. And if you hear it back, then you begin immediately to worry that the love you have just found, you will lose. And so all action becomes a reaction, a defense against loss, even as you seek to defend yourself against the loss of God. Yet, if you knew who you are, that you are the most magnificent, the most remarkable, the most splendid being has ever created, you would never fear. For who could reject such wondrous magnificence? Not even God could find fault in such a thing. And he continues, he says, if you do not know who you are and you think you are a great deal less, and where did you get the idea of how much less than magnificent you are? From the only people whose word you would take on everything, from your mother and your father. These are the people who love you the most. Why would they lie to you? Yet have they not told you that you are too much of this and not enough of that? Have they not reminded you that you are to be seen and not heard? Have they scolded you in some of the moments of your greatest exuberance? And did they not encourage you to set aside some of your wildest imagining? These are the messages you've received, and though they do not meet the criteria and are thus not messages from God, they may as well have been, though, for they have come from the gods of your universe, surely enough. It was your parents who taught you that love is conditional. You have felt their conditions many times, and that is the experience you take into your own love relationships. It is also the experience you bring to me. From this experience, you draw your conclusions about me. Within this framework, you speak your truth. God is a loving God, you say. But if you break his commandments, he will punish you with eternal banishment and everlasting damnation. For have you not experienced the banishment of your own parents? Do you not know the pain of their damnation? How then could you imagine it to be any different with me? You have forgotten what it was like to be loved without condition. You do not remember the experience of the love of God. And so you try to imagine what God's love must be like based on what you see of love in the world. You have projected the role of parent onto God and have thus come up with a God who judges and rewards or punishes based on how good he feels about what you've been up to. But this is a simplistic view of God based on your mythology. It has nothing to do with who I am. So this is like a breakdown of basically what God is saying is why we feel like his love we really feel like his love is conditional because that's what we've grown up. So having read that, I wanted to talk about the belief that many of us hold that God will damn us to hell if we do not behave in a certain way. I remember being a child or young adult and being absolutely floored and tortured by the idea that God will send us to hell for eternity. I remember grappling with this concept and struggling at the thought of myself or anybody else weeping and gnashing of teeth forever. And it was the forever that actually bothered me the most. Not 24 hours, not a month, like forever. My mind could not conceive of being in a place of suffering for as long as the mind can imagine. And that in fact was a form of mental torture for me. And so I thought to tell a child that if they die without being saved or if they sinned, which of us can escape errors on which of us can escape errors on any day? I mean, all of us are capable of falling short. We do all the time. We talked about the ego. So that was actually a form of mental like torture for me. And just the thought of us worshiping this loving God, but this God who is able to that who is capable of being so cruel was just it wasn't logical to me, and it made me what it made everybody else be afraid. So in fact, I know that I personally was told that we are all born in sin, that we have to work our way back to salvation. um how can we be raised or raise our children to recognize their beauty and their power if we all hold the belief that we are born into sin, that from the start, before we're even able to speak a word or do a deed, that we have all screwed up from the beginning? Think about the implication of such a belief, how that impacts our perception of ourselves. This can be the ultimate experience of a low self-esteem, that we are born damned. Where did this belief come from? I don't know exactly where it came from. I'm not a theologian, but I will read some more of what God has to say about it. Uh, Let me go back to Conversations with God in page 183. And it says, so this is Neale asking God a question. May I ask you some questions about this? Like, when you say the mind goes with me after death, does that mean my personality go with me? Will I know in the afterlife who I was? And God says, yes, and who you have ever been. It will all be opened unto you, because then it will profit you to know. Now, in this moment, it will not. And so Neale says, and with regard to this life, will there be an accounting, a review, a tally taking of everything that I've done? And God says, there is no judgment in what you call the afterlife. You will not even be allowed to judge yourself, for you would surely give yourself a low score, given how judgmental and unforgiving you are with yourself in this life. No, there is no accounting, no one giving thumbs up or thumbs down. Only humans are judgmental. And because you are, you assume that I must be. Yet I am not. And this is a great truth you cannot accept. Nonetheless, while there will be no judgment in the afterlife, there will be opportunity to look again at all you have thought, said, and done here, and to decide if that is what you would choose again, based on who you say you are and who you want to be. And I'm going to read page 114. I'm hopping around, y'all. So this is God speaking. I know this is the antithesis of everything you've ever been taught. Yet your teachers have told you of an angry God, a jealous God, a God who needs to be needed. And that is not a God at all, but a neurotic substitute for that which would be a deity. A true master is not the one with the most students, but the one who creates the most masters. A true leader is not the one with the most followers, but one who creates the most leaders. A true king is not the one with the most subjects, but one who leads the most to royalty. A true teacher is not the one with the most knowledge, but one who causes the most others to have knowledge. And a true God is not one with the most servants, but one who serves the most, thereby making gods of all others. For this is both the goal and the glory of God, that his subjects shall be no more, and that all shall know God, not as the unattainable, but as the unavoidable. I would that you could this understand. Your happy destiny is unavoidable. You cannot not be saved. There is no hell except not knowing this. So, again, this is God really trying to change our minds from that which we have been told to the truth of who he is. Because if we really feel like we cannot rely on God, then what is the quality of our prayers really? You know, we would come to him tentative at best. Have I done good? What am I good? Can I? Is he going to hear my prayer? Am I worthy? Um, and this is just not accurate. I have an incredible friend who once told me, he said, on my best day, I am like a filthy rag to God. And I leaned forward and I asked him, do you really believe that God sees you like that? And he paused and he thought, he said, you know what? I don't believe God sees me like that. And in that moment, he realized that he had adopted a belief that someone else had told him. It was not even his original thought, but a thought of someone else who told him, and someone else told them, and so on and so on. I had also been told the same thing when I was younger and believed it as well. And this is what God is referring to when he says that we don't even hold beliefs from our own original thoughts, but of the thoughts of someone else. And all it took was an inquiry from me. I did not even challenge what he said. I merely asked him, do you really believe that's how God sees you? And he thought, you know what? No, no, I don't. I don't believe that. So he realized he had been told a lie, and not to intentionally deceive him. It was the belief of the person who told him, and so on and so forth. And why is this? Why are we told this information? I'm going to read page 119. So Neale asked, well, why am I so ready to always choose the negative and then to spank myself for it? And God says, what can you expect? You were told from your earliest days that you're bad. You accept that we're born in sin. Feeling guilty is a learned response. You've been told to feel guilty about yourself for things you did before you could even do anything. You've been told to feel shame for being born less than perfect. This alleged state of imperfection in which you are said to have come into this world is what your religionists have the gall to call original sin. And it is original sin, but not yours. It is the first sin to be perpetrated upon you by a world which knows nothing of God if it thinks that God would or could create anything imperfect. Some of your religions have built up whole theologies around this misconception. And that is what it is, literally a misconception. For anything I conceive, all that to which I give life is perfect, a perfect reflection of perfection itself, made in the image and likeness of me. Yet, in order to justify the idea of a punitive God, your religions needed to create something for me to be angry about. So that even those people who lead exemplary lives somehow need to be saved. If they don't need to be saved from themselves, then they need to be saved from their own built-in imperfection. So these religions say, you'd better do something about all this and fast, or you'll go straight to hell. This in the end may be nothing to mollify a weird, vindictive, angry God, but it does give life to weird, vindictive, angry religions. Thus do religions perpetrate themselves. Thus does power remain concentrated in the hands of the few rather than experienced through the hands of the many. Of course, you choose constantly the lesser thought, the smaller idea, the tiniest concept of yourself and your power to say nothing of me and mine you've been taught to. So, of what I just read, the two things that struck me the most is number one, a concept that I've never even considered before reading this, that God can actually be offended about our beliefs that we were born in sin and that we are bad. That is actually offensive to God. He said, for anything I conceive, all that to which I give life is perfect, a perfect reflection of perfection itself, made in the image and likeness of me. So God is offended at the concept that Charmaine would think that she is less than perfect. God is floored at the concept that Deshauna would think that she is not the ultimate beauty, that there's nothing that needs to be changed. You know, God is saddened by the thought that any of us could think that we are less than that which we really are. And so God is proud of his creations. God is proud of her children, his daughters and sons. And when he sees us, when she sees us, she knows that we are extensions of herself, perfect rays of light. The second thing I noticed about that conversation was that God pretty much tells us why we have been told all these centuries that we were born into sin and we've fallen short. And, you know, he pretty much explained it by saying, thus does power remain concentrated in the hands of the few rather than experienced through the hands of the many. As long as we believe that we are small, that we fall short, that we're not good enough, then we will continue to hold the belief that we have to go to others to intercede on our behalf. We will continue to be controlled. For example, there are certain religions that actually accept money for them to go to God and pray on your behalf because, you know, you can't pray for yourself. You need someone more righteous or more holy to pray for you. Um, this simply is not true. They are invested in you thinking that you are not good enough. So this is why in the Bible we read that Jesus was hated by the church. Jesus knew his power, and people who knew their power cannot be controlled. People who knows their power cannot be controlled. Even if you lock their bodies up, their minds are free from control and intimidation. This is not an indictment against the church, but it is rather an assertion of the truth of who you are. I have another dear friend who grew up having an experience in church where she was constantly viewed as less than. She never felt good enough. Then on top of that, she has this beautiful dark skin, and she had a friend who was light skinned, and so she was constantly compared to the lighter skinned friend. She was discouraged to participate in church activities. Even if she had a passion for them, she was overlooked and was given to her friend. So now this courageous woman is going through the process of realigning her mind back to love so that she may be able to create and manifest a happy experience, so that she can see the universe being reflected back to her in the beauty and the love that she is. This is what this is all about. This is what this whole thing, this is what meeting every week is all about. It's about us reclaiming our power, redefining that which we are, and having an accurate understanding of who God is. So, who is God? We know that he's not this narcissist, this person who's going to send us to hell. Um, who is God? I want to read what God defines himself as and what he defines us as. So God is speaking. He said, healing is the process of accepting all, then choosing best. Do you understand that? You cannot choose to be God if there is nothing else to choose from. And Neale says, hold on, wait a minute. Who said anything about choosing to be God? And God says, the highest feeling is perfect love, is it not? And Neale said, yes, I should think so. And God says, and can you find a better description of God? And Neale said, no, I cannot. And God says, well, your soul seeks the highest feeling. It seeks to experience to be perfect love. It is perfect love, and it knows this. Yet it wishes to do more than know it. It wishes to be it in its experience. Of course, you are seeking to be God. What else did you think you were up to? I don't know. I'm not sure. I guess I just never thought of it that way. There just seems to be something vaguely blasphemous about it. And God says, isn't it interesting that you find nothing blasphemous about seeking to be like the devil, but seeking to be like God offends you? And Neale is like, now, wait a minute. Who's seeking to be like the devil? And God says, you are. You all are. You've even created religions that tell you that you're born in sin, that you're sinners at birth, in order to convince yourselves of your own evil. Yet, if I told you you were born of God, that you are pure gods and goddesses at birth, pure love, you would reject me. All your life, you have spent convincing yourself that you are bad. Not only that you are bad, but that the things you want are bad. Sex is bad. Money is bad. Joy is bad. Power is bad. Having a lot is bad. A lot of anything. Some of your religions have even got you believing that dancing is bad. Music is bad. Celebrating life is bad. Soon you'll agree that smiling is bad. Laughing is bad. Loving is bad. No, no, my friend. You may not be very clear about many things, but about one thing you are clear, and are most of what you desire are bad. Having made this judgment about yourself, you have decided that your job is to get better. It's okay, mind you. It's the same destination in any event. It's just that there's a faster way, a shorter route, a quicker path, which is acceptance of who and what you are right now, and demonstration of that. This is what Jesus did. This is the path of the Buddha, the way of Krishna, the walk of every master who has appeared on the planet, and every master has likewise had the same message. What I am, you are. What I can do, you can do. These things and more shall we also do. Yet you have not listened. You have chosen instead the far more difficult path of one who thinks he is the devil and one who imagines he is evil. You say it is difficult to walk the path of Christ, to follow the teachings of the Buddha, to hold the light of Krishna, to be a master. Yet I tell you this, it is far more difficult to deny who you are than to accept it. You are goodness and mercy and compassion and understanding. You are peace and joy and light. You are forgiveness and patience, strength and courage, a helper in time of need, a comforter in time of sorrow, a healer in time of injury, a teacher in times of confusion. You are the deepest wisdom and the highest truth, the greatest peace and the grandest love. You are these things. And in moments of your life, you have known yourself as these things. Choose now to know yourself as these things always. Woo! You inspire me. Well, if God can inspire you.
Can you say that again? I'm sorry. Could you go back to that? I am a helper, a comforter, a teacher, the deepest. Could you just do that part again for me,
Okay,
please?
I will gladly. You are goodness and mercy and compassion and understanding. You are peace and joy and light. You are forgiveness and patience, strength and courage, a helper in time of need, a comforter in time of sorrow, a healer in time of injury, a teacher in times of confusion. You are the deepest wisdom and the highest truth, the greatest peace and the grandest love. You are these things. And in moments of your life, you have known yourself as these things. Choose now to know yourself as these things always. And I can take a picture of it and send it to you, Ebony. So I want to read this real quick because I thought it was funny. So Neale said, woo, you inspire me. And God said, well, if God can inspire you, Who in hell can? And Neale said, are you always this flip? And he says, I meant that not as a flippancy. Read it again. And Neale says, oh, I see. And God said, yes. However, it would be okay if I were being flipped, wouldn't it? And Neale says, I don't know. I mean, I'm used to my God being a little bit more serious. And God says, well, do me a favor and don't try to contain me. By the way, do yourself the same favor. It just so happens I have a great sense of humor. I'd say you'd have to when you see what you've all done with life, wouldn't you? I mean, sometimes I have to just laugh at it all. It's all right though, because you see, I know it's all come out and it will all be all right in the end. So, of course, I could go on and on. No, I actually skipped another part that I wanted to read, but I could go on and on and on. As we know, I know that I've said a lot this evening. And again, this is not about blaming anyone for any of the things we're healing from, but about recognizing the errors of what we have been told and choosing to have a different thought about who we are and about who God is. Because again, if we do not believe that the God that we seek to be is worth being sought after, then what are we doing? So does anybody have any questions, any comments? I know I've said a lot tonight. Hey, Deshauna, you look so cute with your pigtails. Ebony, I can send you a picture of what I just read. Hey, Charlotte with us tonight.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
I'll put my video on real quick.
Everybody look at my love. My love, Stanley is on tonight. Everybody say hey to Stanley. Hey, Stanley.
Hi,
What up,
y'all?
What you cooking?
You, whoa. Charlotte. You in the kitchen, Charlotte, with your head wrap on.
I'll eat some watermelon.
So does anybody have any other things they've been told that kind of confused them when they were little in church about God, that kind of scared them? Anything else that you feel like, you know what, that might not have been true? Anybody? I know I forced a lot down your throat. Hey, Takia.
Hi, Miss Loretta. I was just gonna say something.
Okay.
When you asked the question, like, does anybody have anything else that might have been said to them that wasn't true? And I think you made a reference to this before, another night, where you were saying, or using as an example, I think somewhere in the book that says, well, you don't have any money because you think money is bad, or you're scared of money, or like money is the root of all evil. And it's really like we were all really taught that. And that's something that I'm struggling with now. Like, we can say we want the money, you know what I'm saying? And we can visualize it, but if we can't really believe that we are capable of having it, then we don't. So I feel like just that thought alone keeps a lot of us in a box or just down when it comes to money. And ever since you had said that, and ever since I had read it in that book, I've been thinking about it a lot, like how, like, I'm really trying to reverse my whole concept of money, having money, giving money, receiving money.
Yeah.
So I think that part of the book is really interesting, in how we all think, or how we think other people's thoughts really.
Yeah. And so we all grew up hearing money is the root of evil, but you go to church or whatever and they're like, give us some money, it's the root of evil, but give us some money. So how you do that is you change your sponsoring thought about money. You can start. So let me tell y'all a secret. This is, of course, this is being withheld from us. I'm going to tell y'all a secret. In order to tell the universe that you want more of something, to express that you want it, don't say I want. So, because what the universe does is it continues to give you the experience of wanting it. So say, I choose abundance. God, I choose abundance, and thank you in advance. So let's remember that. And I have to correct myself all the time. And that's with anything. Don't say I want, say I choose. I welcome the experience of abundance. Thank you. I experienced it already. So, and then we talked about where the guy was walking past the homeless woman, and his first instinct was to give her some money, and ego was like, what, we don't even have a whole lot of dollars, why are you trying to give her a whole five? You better give us some coins. And by the time he fumbled around the coins, he done passed by the lady. And it talked about, you have missed the opportunity to bless her and yourself. And so to demonstrate that we have money is to give it. We don't have to give, all our money, but that's a huge demonstration to the universe that you believe that more will come, is to share, you know. But yes, this is what the Course in Miracles studying is about, is to dispel those beliefs, those things that we have been told, and so that we can be back in the alignment of truth. Um, don't think that money is evil. Don't feel bad when you receive money. Don't think that in order for you to get, somebody else is missing out. The universe is abundant. Love expands. There's always more. We can all win. Again, that plays on into the programming of when we're looking at TV and it's like a cooking contest. And in order for somebody to win, somebody's got to lose. That's not true. We can all win. And so changing your beliefs about money and saying, I don't, even if you're saying, I do not believe the root of money is evil. I welcome abundance. I deserve, it's my birthright to experience abundance as God's daughter. And many of the things that I know about myself that has allowed me to have a happy illusion of separation that we're doing is I've had Jesus tell me for a whole year who I am through through A Course in Miracles. To have Jesus tell you, you are holy, you are the light of the world. To hear these lessons every day, you begin to create and manifest a loving universe. You create abundance, you create health, you create peace and freedom from anxiety. Because we're dispelling, again, we're taking our minds from alignment of fear and ego back to love. We are retraining our mind. So that is something it's just so many things. It's so many things that we've been told that we adopted that belief. So many things that we realize, you know what, it's this, I don't know where that came from, but this isn't true. This isn't my truth. This is not who I am. This is not who God is. And in church, in religion, we did not have an opportunity to question anything, right? You just had to take it. And if you questioned it, you were considered a troublemaker or so-and-so. I always got a question about, well, just accept it. Just be quiet and listen. This is the time to question everything, research everything. And in conversations with God, God is always saying, trust your own experience more than anything you've been told. What is your experience of yourself? So yes, So I thought this was a great, great time to just, who is God? Let's dispel some of this stuff that we've heard and learned, and because it all creates such a warped sense of God, like he's gonna send me to hell, but he loves me. It just so any questions, comments, anything else, y'all? I have I have something of the week to consider that I wanted to, y'all know I always got a little question or something, but does anybody else wanted to share anything? Charlotte, you crazy with you, girl, you funny. You are funny. Okay, so hearing none, huh?
No, I don't have no questions.
Okay, you, I love
You
you.
so beautiful. I'm
Thank
listening.
you, baby. You too. I love y'all. Y'all my family. For real. Okay, so I wanted to, Greg, you unmuted. Did you want to say something?
Let's see. Oh, I wanted to say, you know what movie I rented on Amazon Prime for like $2.99 a couple
What?
nights ago? The Secret. Have you guys read the book or watched the movie?
Oh, I've definitely heard of that. Y'all
It's
heard of The Secret?
she loved it, and your boy Walsh was at the end giving commentary.
Hey, so
So I would
Neale
recommend.
is the one who wrote Conversations with God.
I would recommend when everyone's snowed in tomorrow, the next
Don't say
day.
that.
Go to Amazon Prime. I'm sure everyone has Amazon. If you don't, just rent the movie The Secret.
The Secret.
And then you'll talk about that all of next week because it ties into the book and offers an explanation, a theory about who God really is.
Yes.
I'll leave it at that.
Greg, I was talking to somebody and I was like, I don't care what Greg say. Neale is talking to God. I don't know what he talked about. He talking to his higher self. He is talking to God. Y'all, these books are so incredible.
He's talking to his higher self,
He is
who is
talking
God.
to God. He is talking.
We're all God.
How many people think he's talking to God?
We are all God.
Thank you, Khadijah. Thank you, Khadijah. Who else? It's powerful. It's powerful. But higher self, God, it's incredible. Oh, Justice gave me see, my daughter gave a thumbs up too. She know it. So okay, so what I wanted to ask y'all real quick, because it's getting late. So things to consider: Christmas shopping. So these are things that I've heard Jesus mention through channeling through Tina. Christmas time shopping, the Christmas music playing in the stores. It's nice. It seems harmless. It's okay. It's fun, but there is intention in Christmas music playing while we are shopping. The one percenters, people who own most of the world, understand that most of us have been conditioned and programmed to look at the Christmas movies, the songs, and when we were younger, it was an exciting time for us, Christmas time. So when they play the music, it does two things. It triggers those early memories that we've experienced, and we could go to Walmart for some tissue, that music plays and oh man, does the kids have enough for Christmas this year? Or I didn't even buy anything for my niece. And then we buy more. And it either triggers a good feeling or it triggers a bad feeling. Some of us get depressed during the holidays. We may not have good energy with our family. Some of us are separated from our family. And so what do? We buy to make us feel better. And so I am just saying this so that we can be present when we are shopping and to ensure that we do not go into the unconscious spending because we are hearing that Christmas music around this time anyway. We all know how commercialized Christmas has been. So Jesus talked about that. He also talked about, which is the second thing that I learned, is many people charge their credit cards to make purchases that they cannot afford during this season. And what they do is they spend the next 6 months of the year to pay off the credit cards for things that they could not afford. But it's an impulsive thing to do because everybody else is doing it. And we can't disappoint the kids. And I have to buy for so-and-so because I know they're buying something for my kids. And every year, the wealthiest of those, the one percenters, are banking on, pun intended, they are banking on us going into unconsciousness and spending unnecessarily. This is the time of the year that they are depending on us to make these incredible purchases. This is an incredibly effective form of programming. The elite rich depend on us following this program. I've had this conversation with my children, and they understand that we have gifts under the tree, but I will not be making unnecessary purchases. And it's not about not having money. It's about being intentional and selective about what I choose to spend my money on. So I just wanted to remind everyone, to just be intentional about your holiday shopping. And this isn't just to be a bah humbug or anything like that, but spirituality makes you recognize things that you never thought about at first. I actually went to ShopRite before I started this Zoom meeting, and they were playing Christmas music at ShopRite, which I never noticed it before. But it's a feeling you get like, do we have enough? Do I have enough? And it's like, yes, we have enough. We have enough, y'all. So I just wanted to say that before we went into the meditation. Does anybody have anything to add about that? Anything we have, any lessons we've been reading? Y'all ain't asking, y'all ain't doing y'all lessons because nobody's asking lesson so-and-so. What did that mean? Lesson so-and-so. I ain't getting none of that no more. Ebony, I get it from you.
I talk to the source and then I call you.
Okay. I got it. I got you. So does anybody have anything to add before we go into the meditation?
Hey, Loretta, I got a book tonight. I got something I got to take care of. I want to say thank you, and we'll see you next week.
Namaste. Tell your girl I said hi.
Will do.
Okay.
Take care, everyone.
All right. See you later. Okay, so I'm so glad that Shauna here tonight and Charlotte. I'm so happy. Okay, so y'all ready to meditate? Y'all ready?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's sit in a comfortable position. Sit comfortably where we are. And close your eyes. And as every week, we settle onto our breath. And I want us to inhale through our nose, exhaling through the mouth as we relax and send a message to the mind, to the body, that we are now getting ready to meditate. So I want us to do something different tonight. I want you to place one hand on your belly and the other on your heart, and become aware of your body rising with each inhale and lowering with every exhale. Drawing a deep breath in through your nose. Pause for 3 seconds and exhale out of your mouth. Do this again, inhaling through the nose. Hold it a little bit and let it out, let it out, let it all flow out. And with every exhale, as every week, I want you to relax your shoulders beside you as you sink deeper and deeper into your chair, onto your bed. Inhaling, filling those lungs fully. Holding and releasing. Releasing all that does not serve you. Now let your breath return to normal and breathe naturally. Allow your arms and your hands to be placed on your lap with your eyes closed. Breathing comfortably in your natural rhythm, letting that breath be. Bring your attention to how your body feels now. How relaxed you feel. Where you feel connected to your chair. Sinking deeper and deeper into where you're sitting. Noticing any places of tension and imagining your breath going to them and allowing that tension to release and surrender. As we remind ourselves that everything is going to be okay. Focusing on the neck and the head, the shoulders and the arms, relaxing with every breath. Your chest and your abdomen, your hips and your buttocks, your thighs and your knees, your calves, your shin, your ankles, and the bottom of your feet, all the way down to the tips of your toes. You feel this beautiful relaxation. You should feel completely at ease, calm and secure, and at peace. You are now ready to take an inner journey. Now imagine that you are standing on a sandy beach. You look out and you see a beautiful, calm ocean. Water as far as you can see. Gentle waves rolling in toward you. The sounds of the ocean sound so calming and relaxing. It reminds you that there is an energy that holds everything together. You can sense how powerful God is and how powerful you are. being God's daughter, being God's son. You can smell the salt air. You can hear birds calling playfully. You look down at your feet and feel your toes curling into the soft, warm sand. It feels so nice to connect with Gaia, to connect with Mother Earth in this way, to feel her energy under your feet. The sand is pleasantly warm and feels nice between your toes. Continue to feel the essence of this place, the peace that permeates this surrounding. You look around and you realize you are alone on this beautiful beach. This does not bother you. You are enjoying spending time on this beautiful day. The sun is warm, yet there is a gentle breeze, and you feel amazing. You feel invigorated. You notice a trail of beautiful shells, and you begin following them, picking up each shell as you come upon it. With each one you pick up, you feel lighter, you feel stronger, and you feel happy. You realize this is how your life is, where God leaves a trail of breadcrumbs to take you to your next destination, to take you closer and closer to your purpose, your mission, which is ultimately peace. To know God in your thoughts, to know God in your word, to know God in your deed. That you are being led throughout your entire life, and that everything is as it should be. And you remind your thoughts, you remind your mind, I am exactly where I am supposed to be in this moment. And that there is nothing to worry about. There is nothing to stress about. That God already has it figured all out. So you come to the end of this trail and you pick up the last beautiful shell, and you realize that it has led you to what seems to be a hand mirror just laying there on this beach. Almost like it was waiting just for you. It is ornate and beautiful. You can't help but pick it up and look at your reflection. And when you do, you realize it is a special mirror that sees you truthfully. It sees you strong. It sees you intelligent. It sees you beautiful and courageous and compassionate and capable of doing anything you wish to do. You see your own power and divinity in this magical mirror. As you look at yourself and allow these feelings of self-love to sink in, you feel happy. You feel content. You feel inspired. You feel safe. You feel loved. You feel supported. You know that whatever challenges you are faced with, that God is going to see you through, that you have already won. As you take a deep breath and exhale it through the mouth, you are understanding that everything is going to be all right, that nothing can damage or destroy you, that you are a beautiful ray of God. As you breathe this knowledge in, as you breathe in this amazing feeling, you relax in every challenge that you thought you had. And now when you are ready, you return the mirror to its place on the sandy beach, knowing that you can return to this place anytime, knowing that you can find this mirror again anytime you need. You slowly make your way back up the beach, listening to the birds and the waves gently rolling, feeling happier, free, and stronger than you ever have before. And as you return your consciousness back to your body, you return your attention back to the room that you are in, through the chair that you're sitting on. You take this knowledge with you as you begin to wiggle your toes and move your legs and move your arms and ultimately open your eyes. We all remember that which we are. How is everybody doing? How did you like the meditation?
That was so good.
That was good. Was it good? Were you on the beach? Were y'all on the beach?
Mm-hmm.
How did you feel, Stanley, on the beach?
Good, felt good.
Felt good.
Get in the water.
You were waiting to get in the water. So thank y'all. It is out. It's 7:07. Who number is that? Who has a 7:07 as their number they see all the time? So I don't want to keep y'all much later than what I have. Thank y'all so much for joining.